I'm definitely 100% feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Not gonna lie, definitely am feeling it. But anyways, so there has been more Mr. Beast stuff in the past couple of days or so. I was kind of waiting for like more stuff to come out, and well, Lord and behold, there is more stuff that came out. So we're gonna be taking a look at it specifically of what kind of shenanigans that's been kind of happening. So yeah, we'll take a look at it, right? Shall we? Shall we, chat? Let's see what more Mr. Beast stuff, because I know Pat God or so released a new video on Mr. Beast.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today I want to again talk about MrBeast. Because it's one of those situations that just keeps evolving to the point where, what comes out the next day is infinitely more wilder than what came out a day ago. Now, for anybody that needs a refresher on the situation, MrBeast and his company was basically thrown into the wildfire of the internet because one large YouTuber at this point, almost 500,000 subscribers now, Dogpack404, uploaded a video where he exposed the MrBeast company and went to town, basically.
You know what's funny? I don't know if anyone called it out or so, but he's literally wearing the content cop outfit from iDubbbz from like super long time ago. I don't know if anyone has mentioned that. He literally looks like he's the content cop or so from iDubbbz, like earlier iDubbbz days.
Covering some of their wilder practices, right? Alleged practices like illegal lotteries, for instance. And the fact that NDAs were being used to silence people from talking about situations that NDAs wouldn't even be applicable for, such as alleged crimes. Now, Dogpack404 came out with a second video on the whole situation, where he premiered it and he showcased, for a large part, an interview with an individual known as Jake Weddle. Jake Weddle would discuss effectively one of his experiences in the MrBeast productions. I'm not joking, seriously bad production standards, okay? Like situations where he felt that he wasn't safe on set, he felt that there weren't, precautions being properly met, and in some cases, he feels traumatized from that experience of MrBeast for a paycheck that probably isn't worth the trauma. Now, towards the tail end of this video is a very, very serious situation that completely moves this whole MrBeast stuff to the next level. Now, while this Dogpack404 stuff was going on, obviously last week, 2 weeks ago, we even saw Chris Tyson, one of the big key members at MrBeast at one point, who basically was exposed, through chat logs, alleged chat logs, and their behavior to be creepy, allegedly, towards minors, okay? Now, obviously, this is a situation where you start to look into this person, and you start to see that they're a huge fan of a lolicon artist known as Shadman, and they would have art of this person allegedly up on their walls, and it was just a whole situation where, MrBeast, Jimmy, actually ended up severing ties with Ava Tyson. But of course, that was just one part of the MrBeast thing. Jimmy, who is the face of the entire MrBeast organization, is now, unfortunately, put into some of the most insane limelight that you can imagine. One where I really don't think there is any good answer out of it. So towards the tail end of this MrBeast situation, Jake here actually exposes that there was one employee at the MrBeast headquarters that apparently had a very serious conviction on record, and apparently was still employed at the company, even though they apparently full well knew of this person's serious conviction. Listen to this.
I may have an answer depending what it is.
Someone pees in public, you're on the registry, you get it. You can still have a job after you're on that's one thing. You go to prison, you get rehabilitated, that's one thing. If you do your time, that's fine. I think there should be rehabilitation in this country. But that guy, from what I hear, I can't confirm or deny, from what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people.
So that's a very, very, very serious allegation. And obviously something like this would require some actual serious proof in the situation. So obviously, putting the old detective hat on, one of the people who was basically going up against
This will make me suffer to draw 5 VTubers. Yeah, you can go right ahead. I have no problem. I have no issue whatsoever. So I've already drawn myself in bunny suits. So it's on my Pixiv or so that I drew him.
against Jimmy.
That was like
Jake, the
super
Viking
long time
here,
ago, though.
actually had a lot
Way long time ago.
to say about this story.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit was tiring, to be honest. I'm gonna be frankly honest with you. Ugh.
Here's the truth. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. Yes, he is a RSO, registered offender, by the way. When he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA. When she was 11, Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there's no jail time, but he still had to register. His nickname is in Delaware.
So, okay, so when he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Okay, so...
Is that a yes or no?
I already answered it, though. I said go right ahead. And I said there's like bunny suits or so on my Pixiv account that I've drawn like a long time ago. I assume you want to look at references or so specifically.
Welcome, Hestia_Reinhardt and crew. Thanks for bringing the party
Hey
to the
Hestia,
channel.
how you doing there?
Let's
Thank you for
embrace
the
the
raid.
chaos and have a
Welcome
fantastic gaming
Raiders. Guess what
session
we're talking
together.
about today? We're talking about MrBeast and the drama again. So, okay. I'm trying to take a look at this, right? Specifically, right? So the one thing, right? Because, like, I've been hearing about this specifically, that he, apparently he was registered on the RSO, right? And he grape, good old tasty grape or so, a minor, apparently between the ages, they've already, he already said what age it is, so, because on the original paper itself specifically, it was between the ages of 11 through 1 or so, but this confirms that it's 11-year-old. It was an 11-year-old when he was 21 apparently, so. But then the weird thing about it specifically, right? The 16-year-old apparently accused him and some other people for SA when she was 11. Now, I'm not saying anything was wrong, right? Or anything was right specifically. But in the document itself, talking about the situation itself, you guys know exactly what I mean, it's weird that in this situation here that he's trying to explain specifically that he doesn't go in depth specifically on the welcome back, Dark Kids. He doesn't explain specifically on the situation itself that he, grape, that to this person, so it's weird because it says it in the document, but then he doesn't say it. But he doesn't say it here specifically. So he just says SA, which everyone knows what SA stands for. Interesting.
Because he can't go back to Delaware. He's from Delaware. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's been back several times. He was hired before I was, and was actually the reason I got hired at MrBeast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yeah, Jimmy knew. But again, this incident happened in 2010. Delaware was hired in 2017 and 2018. Delaware was also let go from the company before I was. Delaware was supposed to be a behind-the-scenes manager, but in a couple videos, he was asked to participate because we needed people. He was reluctant, especially in the straitjacket video, because of his charges, and that's why he wore the mask. Delaware's charges are set to be dropped this fall. Now, it's interesting when people say charges are dropped. I think the proper term would probably be expunged. I don't think charges ever really get dropped like this, especially when you got like a conviction that you've pled to. Delaware has been nothing but a...
Not unless there's like new evidence coming out into limelight. Like, can charges be dropped or so if new evidence show up on the limelight for this situation, chat? I don't know how it works specifically here for your guys' social justice thing, you know? Like, I assume, right? Like, you know, logically, right? If new evidence comes into limelight that, you know, that no, you know, he didn't, or he, you know, he didn't do SA. He didn't do the SA to the young girl. They reached the statute of limitations, I think. So there's a statute. So there's a statute of limitations for being on a on the list or so. On the what's it called again? On the RSO. Interesting. Even I didn't even know that, to be honest. It's on my Pixiv account. Pixiv. It's on Pixiv, not on Twitter. It's on Pixiv. You just click on the link tree and it should be there actually. So yeah.
A good person, an amazing husband to my sister, and the best father to my two nieces that I could ever ask for. They want no part in this and just want...
It should be on my Twitter. Just click on the link tree. The link tree on the bio. It should be there. It should be there. You just click on that and it shows you the link tree for it. It should automatically take you to the Pixiv account. Hopefully it does actually. Unless you can do exclamations Pixiv. I don't know if I did that as a command as well here. I'm not too sure. It's been like a while since I've done command stuff.
Want to live their lives away from the limelight. I understand why anyone would be upset and frustrated over these allegations.
But if you have issues, I'll help you out after the video.
So I'm going to stop the Cope Olympics over here and show you exactly what people had found and dug up when this whole situation came to light. Based on DocPack's videos, it took people literally minutes to find the actual offender registry on this person. Now, the video that people are referring to with the whole mask and everything was this: I spent 24 hours straight in an insane asylum. So this is a video that's still actually uploaded and still viewable. And you can see in this photo that this masked individual in the first 5 seconds of the video is the one that people decided to focus on. So within 5 minutes, people had looked into the offender registry and started to find this individual. So if you look at the masked individual and you look at this mugshot over here, there.
Let me see. Whoa, 2004? Was that like? You know the one thing that's kind of funny to read out of this, right? It says right here sus, right? It has the word sus in it, but then it has sex afterwards. Sus sex. Interesting. Registered as a result of out-of-state conviction. 4th degree of intercourse victim less than 18 years old. Something, okay, so there's something marked out, and then it says 4th degree, and then something, I assume it's sexual intercourse, I assume? Wait. Wait, he was 16. And then she was 11. Oh, I thought he was 21 when this happened. Interesting. Now, if I remember this correctly, right? I know you guys in ye old times, right? I know in specific parts, right? In specific parts of areas where if a person dates someone who's younger than them, but then they did something with them, right? And then the parents find out specifically about the situation, then technically the parents can bring the boy to court in that situation. Because I remember in old times, right? Like in ye old times, I think I've seen it like a couple times before. Where specifically where the parents find out that their daughter had relationship or intercourse with a person that's older than them, and then they can press charges against him as, SA. I think I've heard something related to that before a long time ago. Cuz I thought when he was 21 he did it to someone at 11. But then now actually seeing the actual report paper here specifically, he was actually technically the age of 16, and then she was the age of 11. Interesting. Because I'm like kind of looking at it specifically, and because I've seen it before. Because a 16-year-old harassing an 11-year-old wouldn't make sense. Because usually, like, if the parents find out that their 11-year-old daughter had intercourse sex with a 16-year-old boy, wouldn't the parents just, like, try to convince the daughter to press charges against him for SA? Like, hasn't there been something related to this before in the past or so? I feel like I've heard something like that could actually happen or so. It's kind of weird or so. It feels like something like this happened somewhere in the past, specifically where an older boy or so, was charged or so of having sex, but even though he's a minor, and then she's also a minor, I'm like, they're both minors at the end of the day. Is it weird? Yeah, of course it is weird. But like I feel like this definitely has to do something with the parents of the daughter or so. I feel like this definitely has to do something with the parents of the daughter. Now, I'm not saying I'm not defending of what he did, right? Or whatnot, right? Because I'm looking at this like very logically after you provide me the paperwork specifically on this situation, right? But I feel like I can come up with like some kind of like hypothesis or so of how this actually transpired, for him to become, a part of this list, That's interesting. This is very interesting indeed. It would be interesting to get like an interview or so, like someone interviewing him, right? On this matter or so, and ask him, hey, I know that you did it with an 11-year-old when you were 16 or so, right? Now the question is, like, did the parents find out and try to press charges against you on this situation? And then I assume they wanted the daughter or so to be the testimony to go against you and whatnot. Like, it would be interesting to find out in that sort of nature. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case or so, for that to happen, because I'm like, they're both minors at the end of the day. Is it weird? Yeah, of course it's weird, But I'm like, they're both minors. I'm very curious if the parents of the daughter had anything to do with it. I'm like really, really, really curious, because if I remember correctly, if we look back or so on the Twitter DM, apparently, let's see. So yeah, so this is what, 16. So 5 years later, that same girl decided to charge him as for SA. 5 years later. Let me remind you, this is 5 years later. This didn't happen the next day, the following week, the next month, the next year. It happened 5 years, where this 16-year-old accused him for SA. That's what kind of strikes me a little bit weird, Cause she accused him when he is 21. She turned 16 years old. And then she comes out and says, oh, this guy SA me, 5 years later. Like I said, we don't have the full entire picture or the context because nobody was there during the situation, right? You, me, anyone in the comment sections, anyone here specifically watching right now, like, nobody knows what actually happened, what actually really transpired on that day. It's all through assumptions at this day, Because it says right here, during that time, he was 16 and the victim was 11. But then waited 5 years to file a report or so on this situation. Damn, Jesus Christ. That sure is a long time or so for you to file a report on that. That's why I'm a little bit like, wait a second. This is kind of weird. Why would you wait 5 years to report this person, Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on a second. What is that video? I spent 24 hours straight in an insane asylum?
We will be spending...
Okay. When was this video uploaded? February 10th of 2019. Okay, so apparently here, right, from what I'm saying from the conviction information specifically. Hey Jerry, not right now. I'm kind of busy focusing on the video right now. So it says right here on the offense date, right? It says right here, apparently the date of the situation that happened that he essay her was on the 8th of 20 of 2004. Apparently that is the date that happened. Fourth degree of sexual intercourse, victim less than 18 years old. Yeah, but this person is less than 18 years old though. When this all transpired, he was at the age of 16 and she was at the age of 11. Minimum registration for 10 years. So apparently he got registered as a, well, an SO. For 10 years, apparently. And there's a bit of, oh, interesting. $2019. And then the conviction date was 2010. Interesting. So, because I know he got let go early. And apparently he sat down with Jimmy and his mom specifically about this whole ordeal, you know? So the incident okay, so yeah, this confirms that the incident was back in 2010. This incident was in 2010. But he wasn't hired until 2017 or 2018. So yeah, so apparently the 421 2010, April 21st. So April 24th, 2010. But unfortunately he lost the case. So he had to be registered as a, as this for 10 years. Minimum registration period for 10 years. But then he didn't get hired until 2017. Until 2017 or 2018, one of those 2 years. So he was basically 3 years away from not being shown as a, That's interesting. Because if you try to line up all the stuff specifically, it's because of how many references there is to Nako. What do you mean references? What are you talking about? Because like if you try to line up everything right, and you try to kind of think a little bit more logically on this situation itself, this is kind of a bit of a more in a gray zone area, you know? Like this is very gray zone on this situation here. You know? Is it weird? Oh yeah, definitely. This is 100% a bit weird in my personal opinion. You know, like why are you even trying to do it with an 11-year-old, you know? That's just weird, you know? But at the end of the day, they're both minors, right? I bet you $10 the parents of the daughter found out that their daughter had sexual intercourse with a 16-year-old somehow, some way, and then try to press charges against him, but have the daughter be the testimony on that situation. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that actually what went down, you know? Because this is just weird. Like, I would understand if he was 18 years old, right? If he was 18 years old and he did it to an 11-year-old, then this is a different story. Then he'd be like, yeah, no, this is fucking weird. No. Yeah, no, he should be on this list 100%. But, like, he's 16 years old, so... I don't know, to be honest. So that's why me personally, when I saw this specifically, it's just kind of like, you know, it's kind of like basically like, well, make up your own, you know, at this point, you just make up your own decision at this point, you know, at the end of the day, right? But to me, this just looks kind of weird. Like all of this timeline, trying to line up everything specifically, you know, from what Jake said and then what the paper is saying here specifically. And then apparently she waited until she was 16 years old, apparently, to try, and then, like, he became 21 years old. So then they charged him after 5 years. Yeah, that's what I think. It's a little bit weird, but... I don't know how you guys work it here. I don't know how you guys do your shit here, but that's just weird. Okay? That's just weird. So,
and started to find this individual. So if you look at the masked individual and you look at this mugshot over here, there is some belief that yes, this is the same person, okay? Allegedly. Now, of course, if you read through the offender registry in this situation, what has been pled to is actually quite disgusting. So right here you can see that the description is registered as a result of out-of-state conviction. The conviction was the R word, 4th degree, by the way, with a victim less than 18. The victim's age was 11 and the offender's age was 16. Now people will say that, oh, but Muda, they were minors, both of them. In fact, this one guy says, hey, the guy was also a minor when the crime was said to have occurred. Doesn't justify his actions, but leaving out context is shitty. Yeah, it doesn't justify actions. Here's an extra pair of context there. 16 is when you're in high school. 11...
yeah, but we had, even during my time or so when I was spending time here in the, let me see.
is when you're in elementary, motherfucker. There's your...
Actually, technically yes and technically no, actually. There were actually people who were 11, what is it? I think if I remember correctly, isn't like... Let me see, hold on. Let's see, how is it done here in your guys' world? Yeah. Just as figured as much. Sorry, Muda, but I think you're a little bit off. I understand what he's trying to say or so specifically, But if I remember correctly, yeah, there were people who were 11 years old who were in middle school. You know? So so the middle school is grade 6 through 8, which is the ages between 11 and 13. So that's actually incorrect of what Mudahar of what Mudahar is saying specifically on this situation. You know? Cuz he's Canadian, right? He's Canadian. He doesn't know the US, right? In the US specifically, it's between 11 and 13. So it was a middle schooler basically dating a high schooler. And you want to know something? This is a common shit that happens even during the old times. You want to know why? Because I've heard these stories too as well, where middle schoolers date high schoolers, okay? All right? They usually date the fucking someone from a junior or a senior. I usually hear all of these stories from the girls specifically, where they're like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards 100% that the parents had something to do with this. Like, I'm kind of leaning towards that situation, that the parents definitely like they found out one way or another that, you know, yeah, that they definitely found out that their daughter had sex with him when he was 16 years old. So
Context right there. You know, it's weird if you kind of think about it. Back in high school, if any one of my peers was going over to the elementary school for something strange, yeah, that person would be looked at very unfairly.
hold on. I just need to message this specifically. I just want to correct him. Yeah, cause like honestly, that's pretty much it. So, you know, that's incorrect what he just said right now specifically. So, I have to refute that claim because he's 100% miss. He literally told a million people about this situation, but I'm like, if from the people who grew up in those days, right? In those old days, right? In the year of 2010 and early or so, sometimes you would hear some middle schoolers dating high schoolers, and it was a common thing to see. Of course, it phased out later, you know, because, you know, complicated relationship issues, of course, you know. You dating a high schooler, you know, never really ended very well with the parents specifically, right? You know, the parents wouldn't like that 100%, you know. And I feel like that's kind of what basically happened. I feel like 100% the parents had something to do with this. I'm just having a very suspicious feeling that the parents had some kind of way or form. But yeah.
Favorably by the elementary school, very unfavorably by us. It was a taboo back then, and it's a taboo very much now. So yeah, that's the kind of context I wish people would kind of.
No, you're missing the context here specifically, Mudahar, that she was in middle school and he was in high school. So, and it was a common thing where middle schoolers sometimes date older men. That was a thing. That was an actual thing. I understand that he doesn't understand it specifically on that concept, right? Because he didn't grow up. He didn't grow up, you know. I assume, I don't know where he grew up because I don't really know too much, right? But like specifically like over here, you know, that's what people did or so when back then or so, you know? It was just as it is. It can also be the older one graduated and still kept the relationship. Oh, you might be right, actually. You actually might be right on that, actually. Could be. But we don't have the full context, unfortunately, so.
Add to these situations. See, not everything is as binary black and white evil. You have to look.
Because remember, right? In those ye old times, right? Parents were super protective with their daughters, even to this day, right? The parents are super protective over their daughter, right? What would happen if the daughter was keeping the relationship a secret from their parents, not telling them about it, and not telling that they had, you know, that they fucking did it, you know? And then they found out later, you know, from, I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe a text message or an encounter or whatever fucking other reason it could be, right? Maybe he sent like a pigeon bird or something to her house, you know, sending love letters, you know, or maybe he was outside of her fucking house, you know, putting the boombox over his head, you know, playing a love song or so in front of her house, you know. like I said specifically, right? You know, they must have found out one way or another, you know. So I'm just saying, because like that's how it's been in ye old times. That's why I had to correct him specifically, because like that's how it was, you know.
Look at these things with all of this, you know, extra context that human beings develop as.
So if you're gonna throw in the extra context specifically, well then you should probably do your due diligence or something and search it up on Google that like, hey, you know, it's 3 years. It's 3 years in middle school if I remember correctly, right? And apparently it's through 11 through 13. Yeah. See. Yeah, because you would have some 14-year-olds in high school mixed in with 15-year-olds. Because not everyone is 15 years old when they reach into high school, you know? So, not everybody.
As they age. So what's funny about this Jake character right here is Jake Franklin was basically on Jimmy's ass. I probably have showcased some of his stuff while I was covering the story, where he said, Jimmy knew. No accountability, none. The silence is deafening. It just keeps getting worse. Here's the truth, by the way. Yeah, Delaware's my brother-in-law. So yeah, at the end of the day, the brother-in-law in this situation is a true scumbag. Now, I don't know of any real situation where somebody is, you know, somehow, you know, actually innocent. There's been a false claim that's made. Why would you plead guilty and have that conviction added to your record? I have waited, you know, a while to release this video as compared to some of my peers because I genuinely did want to ask any lawyer, anybody, if there was a solid good reason. And from my understanding is, obviously, these two people were minors at the time, and maybe there was some, you know, there might have been something that could have happened, maybe not enough to go to jail, but whatever conviction that you had to plead to, and the most disgusting conviction that we read here, enough to be put on the registry. And by the way, you know, this is not a conviction where you're put on the registry because you urinated in public and got caught, you know, sometime when you were 19 and 10 years later, you explain that situation. No, the actual conviction we just read disgusts me to my core. Now, the thing about this whole story is, based
He definitely did not think this through 100%. Take care, Lord. Take care. He definitely didn't like take a look at like every avenue, you know. That's why for me specifically, that's why I kind of look at like Moist Critical and Asmongold when it comes to like, because Asmongold like always has this really good theory or so. Specifically, I was like, you want to look at a situation from many different angles, you know, all of the angles. You have to look at it every single angle. You have to look at it at their perspective point of view. You got to look at his perspective point of view, the law's specific specific point of view, and then from here and then that and then here. You know, you always got to look at it at many different directions, you know, not just one solid direction and think you have the whole entire picture. You know, you got to come up with like, you got to look at it and kind of like think about it, be like, okay, so you know, I've done 5 minutes of Google search from Canadian POV. Yes, 11 is still in elementary school. Oh, so he just only looked at it in his side when he typed it in Google. But over here, because I just typed it in right now, it's not, you know? Middle school is grades 6 through 8, and the ages is 11 through 13. Sometimes 14. It just kind of depends, you know? Yeah, so he already immediately, that part right here, this part of the video that he just completely talked about is just completely incorrect. That part alone is just incorrect. So, because he's Americano, right? The rules of Canadians do not apply in America. Sorry to burst your bubble there, Mr. Muda. So, this kind of changes everything, and a lot of your arguments kind of fall flat a little bit. So,
based on what Jake has effectively said, is had this been discussed, right? Like he said, he was hired before I was. Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue and explained to them everything. You are telling me that MrBeast and the people working for him decided to hear this person out.
yeah, and what's wrong with that? Yeah, he probably knows what went down on that day and the situation of the court of him, you know, being accused of it. I don't understand why you don't seem to understand this. You know, why are you having a tough time to swallowing this pill that he just sat down and tried to explain? It like, to be honest, this is how it is in like almost like, you know, if you're like, what, if you've been convicted or so, right? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get accepted, right? You know, usually you don't get accepted. But the 1% that you do get accepted, right? They usually want an explanation of what really went down. And then you bring in, you know, the documents and everything. Well, if they ask for it, right? You know, and then they ask, you know, a rundown, play by play or so of the situation of what really happened, you know? Like, it's a small percentage chance that you get accepted into it, of course, into the job that you're trying to apply for. Because usually 9 times out of 10, you'll just get rejected immediately, so.
Sorry, you read a conviction like that, it's disgusting. You're telling me you sit across somebody and you hear them out and you read their rap sheet? What did you have to hear to even consider hiring this person?
You don't know. You actually don't know, to be honest. You don't know. I don't understand why you're having this really tough time to swallowing this pill and like trying to think this logically or so. Am I the only one that I'm crazy or something? That I'm kind of thinking this like super logically on like trying to look at every angle of this situation or so? Am I crazy or something or what?
Jimmy, MrBeast is somebody that produces content that is aimed towards children. There is, in my opinion, no good response that you can give that could satiate anybody. This is...
You sure about that? Are you really sure, Mudahar? Are you really sure about that situation? So you think there's nothing in the entire world that you would listen to? I don't know, man. I feel like this one. I feel like this situation itself, what Mr. Delaware here had to do or so, you know. It definitely isn't. It definitely isn't very black and white. It's very gray zone. You know, it isn't like kind of like cut and dry or so. It could be cut and dry once you have all the evidence on presented on the table specifically, right? But like at the moment, it's just a very gray zone at the very moment because it can go either way, right? This situation can go leaning towards the left or leaning towards the right. You know. I don't know, man. I grew up in America where in middle school girls were dating juniors, and yes, parents knew. Yeah, of course, it was a common thing. They dated seniors too, you know, because we don't have all the evidence, right? He has, like, I assume he has the documents and stuff like that about the actual situation that went down. And then this guy is like immediately trying to say, "Oh no, he 100% did it. No, he's so 100% on the registered sex offender. You know, you know, I don't want to hear him. Blah 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 blah. There's nothing in the world that would make me change my mind." It's like, I don't know, man. Sometimes it isn't black and white as you see the world, Mudahar. I'm just saying, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit in the gray zone, you know. Unless they present you the evidence in front of you and you read the document in front of you, then you can make up your own opinion. And at the end of the day, right, if you think he still is one, then that is your opinion at the end of the day. But granted, remember this, you're a Canadian and you grew up with Canadian stuff. Over here in the US is a completely different playground compared to the Canadian side, you know? So apparently over there in the Canadian side, you know, what Dark just did his research specifically, you know, apparently 11 years old is still considered as an elementary school, but over here it's not considered as an elementary school. It's considered as a middle schooler. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It actually wouldn't surprise me if they are being dropped because of that situation, you know.
This is not just disgusting and immoral. This is just shocking that somebody like MrBeast or
is this really all he's going to talk about specifically?
Somebody. And you know, you don't need suits or fancy HR guys or corporate individuals to tell you that this is a bad idea. This is just something that even if you were a gang of the most unprofessional people with the largest YouTube channel at the time or the largest growing channel, you would realize this is a hire that you probably should never make in a million years. And this makes the context of this guy wearing this mask in the video even more harrowing. You hire a guy, you bring him into the team, and you're telling me if you know about this person's history, allegedly if that's how the story goes.
If he actually talks the rest of the entire video for 18 minutes about him specifically, I'm not going to watch the rest of this video because I've already debunked his entire, video already, specifically. Everything, all of his, everything else that he's going to be talking about kind of falls flat specifically around him, so.
The mask stuff is extra sociopathy on top of it. You know the person you've hired is in the wrong. You know you brought him in is in the wrong. And people who will say that, yeah, this person went to prison, or this person, I guess, did their time and they pled guilty or whatever. At the end of the day, if you plead guilty to committing this crime, I'm going to sit there and reasonably believe something has happened that can't be reversed. And in that situation, I really think when it comes to crimes involving children, this is my personal belief, hot take if it may be, you should go to life in prison, or, you know, in some cases, places do capital punishments. I am not necessarily sympathetic to, I don't even have any opposition to that kind of stuff. This is some of the worst crimes that you can get onto. And that's just where I stand on it. Disagree if you want to disagree. Now, because of this whole situation blowing up the way that it has, obviously, you know, a question that people have asked is, how much has this actually affected the MrBeast brand, so to speak? So if you go to MrBeast's channel and you look at, you know, a video from 6 days ago in the midst of all of this controversy, the video did 131 million views, okay? Meaning that, you know, as far as Jimmy's videos have gone, they've done pretty well. This is a very well-to-do video. Even comparing it to a video where he actually had 50 of very large YouTubers participate and add in extra viewership because of those large numbers, he still did very well here. Now, obviously, many people have looked into this video and used an extension on Chrome that basically told a lot of people that, hey, this guy got 2 million something dislikes. Now, in reality, apparently, according to Jimmy, the video is doing so well that it's got 98 to 99% like to dislike. And one of the things with this extension is if you have a Chrome extension that tells you dislikes, it's not accurate whatsoever. YouTube's API does not report dislikes whatsoever, so anytime you come across an extension, all it does is take dislikes that have been calculated in a registry that it has for users who also use a similar extension or that same extension.
It could be. It could be he had this. But at the same time, remember, he lives in Canada, right? And he probably searched this up specifically about like the age of 11 or so, being what, what school or so. I'm surprised it kind of slipped his mind specifically. And he didn't say, oh, wait a second. These are Canadian. He lives in America. So let me look up the American side. It definitely 100% flew over his head on that situation. So he still has to take accountability specifically on that it flew over his head. Because he doesn't live in America. He lives in Canada. I know that because he has said it multiple times in his vids in the past.
And extrapolates it using math that will obviously not be accurate in any...
Plus, he's a smart dude. Now, he's not... Now, I just debunked and called him off on specifically this specific, on that specific, part of the video completely. So everything he says completely is completely shattered on his debate on that situation of him, So whatever he just said specifically about him is completely thrown out the window because he decided to use logic from Canadian logic to apply it to the US, which is not the same and it's different. So
case according to these videos, especially for controversial videos where generally anybody that has a dislike extension probably is somebody that is actively disliking videos. I just wanted to bring that out there because just for the sake of, context and argument and actual research, I feel it's best to understand how this piece of technology works. That said, the video, if you start looking through it, there's been allegations that comments have been deleted. Now, obviously, comments being deleted, there's no way to even prove that. Properly, unless you're posting something and your comment gets deleted. Sometimes spam filters act crazy. They will remove comments. I'll have comments removed from my videos. I never moderate my comments. I don't need to. If you ever
same. I don't need to moderate mine. So
have a comment deleted from my videos, it might be a spam filter, or
yeah, because I have specifically some person who comments on some of my videos specifically, and his comments gets deleted. I don't even moderate my own comment section. I just reply to everybody, and that's pretty much about it. So that's all YouTube side.
What I've done is put my docs inside the actual YouTube auto moderation. So if you decide to post my address, then the YouTube bot will jump in and moderate and remove those things. So maybe there is some auto moderation, maybe there is some moderation, but it's not something that anybody can tangibly prove. That being said, what people can prove is throughout all of this, MrBeast has decided to sweep his content and basically hide a lot of these interesting moments that people have been digging up. For instance, when we were looking at that Shadman stuff from the first video, one video that MrBeast posted, tipping pizza delivery guy $10,000, is suspiciously only 10 minutes and 27 seconds long. Now, I have actual video proof from my research, because I save all of the actual, investigation work that we do, just so I can review it back down the road. And also in the event that somebody sues us and they're like, well, do you have the proof? Oh, bitch, we've got proof. If you look at a re-upload of the video from 5 years ago, it's 12 minutes and 43 seconds long. So evidently, something has happened to the MrBeast video where now it's somehow shorter. What happened? Well, apparently MrBeast has started jumping in to the YouTube editor feature and trimming out sections of these videos. So
I don't think it's MrBeast who jumps into the editor snippet feature editing tools or so and does it himself. I really doubt it.
What got trimmed out of the tipping pizza delivery guy's $10,000? Well, after this gentleman shows up with the white shirt with the orange design, you can see Jimmy and that infamous Shadman poster on the wall. Watch this.
Oh yeah, no, 100% it would be his editors. Yeah. Now the question is, if it's him who's directing it, then that's a different story, right? If it's him that's directing directing his editor to do it, then yeah, that's a different story. But at the same time, you can't just blame Jimmy and thinking that he jumped on his YouTube account, went to go find this video specifically, went to watch the video, cut the specific part of the video where it shows the Shadman image, right? And then,
This.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Just keep it, man.
Yeah. So right here, you can see that this section where obviously you're sitting down ordering food or whatever, Jimmy is in the back over there, and the Shadman poster is.
I remember watching this video too as well. So, to be honest, like I said, I didn't care back then, and I still don't care now, to be honest. Like I said, unless you bring me definitive proof that this is an actual real child or so that Shadman decided to draw into a hentai format, I'm just gonna take it as it's just another lolly picture. That's it. So, or another lolicon picture, I should say. I just take it as a lolicon picture at the end of the day. So, unless you bring me definitive proof that it was based off this child doing this pose on this day of this year at this time, then I'll be like, yeah, okay, all right, that's not cool,
Is on the wall. Now, of course, if we play this footage right over here real quick, one thing you'll notice, and this is something obviously cut out, he'll look at that Shadman poster, like he's actually looking at it, so he knows full well that it exists, right?
Are you sure he's looking at it? It looks pretty pixelated in my personal opinion. Is that video tipping pizza delivery guy 10,000? Let's take a look at it. Let's do our own research right now. Let's take a look at it, shall we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm hungry as shit, man. I would go extra large, but
No. You want to know why? Look at this right here, guys. You guys see this right here on the left?
Oh yeah.
There's a TV right here. He's not looking at the poster.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm hungry as shit, man. I would go extra large, but my girlfriend might get mad at me.
He's looking at the TV. There's a TV right here. And he looks this way, and then he looks this way towards the camera.
Yeah, I'm hungry as shit, man. I would go extra large, but my girlfriend might get mad at me.
Yeah. So that's already another one that I just debunked Mr. Mudahar specifically. So
That Shadman poster, like he's actually looking at it, so he knows full
No,
well
he's
that
not.
it exists, right? And obviously,
can we here? Hey Hestia. Let me just edit that too as well. I don't know. He's looking at a TV, so, you know.
see, Jimmy's not new to the internet. This is pretty much where he's made a lion's share of his money. He knows what that poster is. But that's suspiciously now been cut out of the actual video. If you go to the actual MrBeast content, you can go to this section with this same individual right over here, and you hit play, and all of a sudden, you know, around the time when it's supposed to cut to, you know, the group of guys sitting inside the house, yeah, it cuts right here, and boom, that section was removed out of YouTube. So again, it's stuff like this where I look at it and I think, instead of addressing the actual situation, all Jimmy has to do is start cutting out actual content, and over time, the controversy and all of the backlash should just blow right over. Now, it's in this situation that, again, people started looking even deeper, and one of the things that got leaked out, apparently from the company, very confidential, do not distribute, was apparently they are deciding to actually expand the scope of their investigations, and what they're doing is hiring a new chief human resource officer. Awesome! We are bringing in a seasoned leader to help us build a more inclusive environment and a world-class HR team. Mandatory training on safety, harassment, LGBTQ, diversity, sensitivity training, and workplace conduct. Listening sessions so you can listen to every employee and their experiences and idea. Anonymous reviewing, external reviews. You know, all of this basically means nothing. On the beginning intro point to this video, when we're talking about the hiring of an individual that has an actual serious conviction on record, okay? You know, we live in a world where once you've been convicted of a crime, if you're ever a felon, and if you ever come across somebody like that, I don't know what they
I
have to
don't
tell you to
really care about
convince
this
you
part
to
because I
hire
already debunked it
them.
specifically.
There was one sponsorship in his video, Creator League GG/MrBeast, where ultimately at the end of the day, I believe a lot of the creators involved in this backed out after 24, 48 hours. It really feels like after seeing this, you know, conviction record like this, none of these NFTs or anything even match. But it brings it to a point where we talk about illegal lotteries, and we talk about, you know, the Feastables branding and how children are targeted. There's a lot of questions that have to be answered in that situation. Now, obviously, I think the real backlash here, and really the real consequence for the entire MrBeast brand, is relationship to other YouTubers. Now, yesterday there was a video uploaded by Ludwig, a friend of the channel. He uploaded a video on Mogul Mail, where he basically said that unless MrBeast has some actual salient proper response, there's no way he can actually continue to support or work for the guy. And I think that goes just to here on our channel at Some Ordinary Gamers. And I know plenty of my close friends in YouTube, people that I constantly collaborate with, people that I am in active business with, absolutely also say the same thing. So the whole connection to the rest of the wider community that has always put MrBeast in this positive good guy role, that's basically being eroded. I don't think there's any good answer that MrBeast can provide that will actually make me...
I've already just debunked everything you said, Mutahar, so... It's pretty easy. When you look at everything, you know? You kind of look at it and analyze everything to, like, to the teeth and everything like that. Just like how Asmongold taught me specifically, right? And then think very logically. With his mindset, and also you know, Penguin Zero's mindset too as well, and think at it as much as you can, you know. And to be honest, I've already kind of like completely debunked it. So
at least somewhat satiated. There's nothing that he can do that would turn that whole situation around. The fact that he allegedly is hired and let this guy operate near him when this registry, when this conviction existed on the record, that is insane. There is no good answer to that.
Are you gonna keep talking?
I think
about
MrBeast has a lot to do when it comes to responding to that illegal lottery. That is still a allegation that hasn't been...
Oh yeah, the illegal lottery thing. I haven't looked into that, so I can't really talk about that specific part. So
addressed, especially when, you know, you've been alleged to do something very illegal. I think that, you know, the entire concept of these hoodies, as Dogpack showed in his initial video, where, you know, signatures were apparently being forged, and that is in some way a scam. Obviously, we're discussing a wide...
It's not a scam. It's they're paying for, well, you know, they're paying for a product, right? They're paying for a MrBeast t-shirt, right? Signed by MrBeast, right? I guess you could say if it's a scam, but if I remember correctly, right? A scam is basically you buy something and you don't receive the item. You know? I assume that's how it is, right? I assume the definition of a scam is what that is, right? Unless I'm totally wrong. Is that what the definition of a scam is, right? Is that when you buy a product or so, but then you don't get the product specifically is a scam, right? So what he's selling specifically is a t-shirt, right? So he's selling a shirt, right? I assume signed by everyone in the crew and whatnot, right? So I assume maybe everyone's saying the scam specifically is the signed t-shirt part, which I completely understand, right? That's completely understandable specifically, right? But if I remember this if I remember this correctly specifically from back then, because I remember watching this back then or so, he was doing it for 40K subscribers, roughly about 40K subscribers, and I remember specifically that he was already getting tired of writing his name down on the t-shirt specifically after going through what, somewhere around 2K shirts or something like that. I don't know. It's been such a long time, to be honest, since I've seen the video, because for you to sign 40K t-shirts live on stream, that's a pretty heavy ass fucking thing to do, in my personal opinion, you know? Yeah, I remember that his hand was starting to give. So it wouldn't surprise me that one of the members from MrBeast signed the shirt for him because his hand was already starting to hurt, specifically writing down, you know, he hasn't even cracked 40K shirts, you know? And his hand started to hurt. Like, come on, let's be a little bit logical here. I think anyone's hands would hurt if you're trying to write 40, like roughly 40 plus K of t-shirts. If I were to order a PSP and the PSP doesn't arrive, or it arrives but it's made of cardboard, scam. Yeah. Like I said specifically, like, let's be honest here. Anybody with more than fucking 2 brain cells can understand that trying to write MB of MrBeast insignia on 40 plus fucking t-shirts would fucking kill anyone's hand. Okay, let's be logical here, okay? Especially because he was doing this on a live stream. So I assume he was trying to sign all of these specific shirts live on stream for everybody. But then his hand started to cramp. His hand started to hurt. I don't blame him specifically that, you know, he had someone helped him write down the shirt. Like, are we kind of like losing this like common knowledge or so that your hand would fucking hurt? You know? Like, are we kind of like throwing this logic out the window? We're just like, oh, he's scamming everybody. He's not signing the t-shirt. Okay, then I want you to sign 40K plus t-shirts, and let's see if you can do 40K plus t-shirts on a live stream without your hand cramping up or hurting at all, you know? I want you to do it. Sit down and go do it. I would love to see you do it, you know? I would watch you as well while you're doing all this shit. But if I hear you complaining one time, then that just proves my logic specifically that, like, yeah, it's okay if someone else does it. It's not a super big deal. Now, is it a little bit messed up? Yeah, you can say it's a little bit messed up because they wanted an authentic MrBeast signed t-shirt, you know? I understand specifically, right? But for you to sit there and say it's a fucking scam, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's really not, to be honest. Even people who sign posters, right? If you try to sign 40K plus fucking posters, bro, you're gonna lose your arm. You're gonna lose your hand in a second, you know?
Variety of actual allegations, and the severity of them change, obviously, depending on what we're talking about. But this is, again, another allegation that needs to be addressed. The whole situation with, you know, Jake Weddle, who suffered, in their mind, during an actual, you know, production of MrBeast. where's the apology there?
That one specifically, Asmongold talked about it, and I'm not gonna specifically talk about that situation. If you want to take a look at it, you should just take a look at Asmongold's video on that subject about him being, you know, being stuck in a goddamn place or so for you know, for money, you know.
And what about the actual Amazon Beast games, where there are some serious allegations of people being treated in a fucked up way on set, and people being mishandled, people being put in danger? There is a lot of things that need to be covered.
I don't know about that one specifically. I haven't heard anything specifically about that one, so.
Now, obviously, from a YouTuber perspective, I don't think he's ever going to have the same connection to other creators as he once had, because this is stink that just does not wash off. Now, obviously, I've seen people bring up the idea of why are people in the defense squad, or why people aren't really talking about the situation, and they keep bringing up that there's money, there's, you know, funds being exchanged, we're being paid off by the Beast crew.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, I can show you bank statements. Never have I received $1 from this organization or MrBeast or anybody associated. But obviously videos like this, like the one I'm making, take some time to vet, to say things that obviously won't get you sued. But, you know, to make sure that you're on the right side of history and you've got the right facts on board.
Well, you don't have the right facts. Okay. Let's be honest here. He does not have the right facts. He's already made an error in this video specifically. And I called him out, not once, but 2 times specifically. 3 times if you want me to call out the t-shirt thing, of the signed t-shirt, okay? Because you got to think of this logically, okay? Let's not bring emotions into this conversation, okay? All right? Think with your brain here. You're a very smart individual. I know Mudahar is a very smart individual. You know, I don't hate this dude whatsoever. I know he's a very smart dude. But I feel like some things kind of fly over his head specifically. So it does basically miss him, you know, by an inch. So.
And based on everything that we've seen, this whole Delaware stuff, that is the final straw, okay?
I don't care about this Delaware thing.
I think when it comes to the viewership that he has right now, especially with children who probably don't care about stuff like this or aren't so well educated, that'll still exist. But I think from having his face as the company, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of YouTubers that will work with him. I'm sure there still will be, but I think the YouTubers that I'm friends with that have, in my understanding, a really good moral compass probably will never want to associate themselves with somebody that has such a terrible track record, it seems, on hiring people. And I think sometime down in the next...
Yeah, but like I said, do I need to remind you what I said at the beginning of this video?
Couple weeks, there's probably going to be some serious statements coming out from Amazon in regards to those Beast games. I'm sure when it comes to big corporate companies, they're obviously in talks right now with the MrBeast crew and probably discussing next steps going forward. Is it worth proceeding when you've got this much stink on you? Because Ava Tyson was one thing. You could cut the fat right there and ignore the whole thing. But in this situation, when you've got the face of the company, Jimmy Donaldson, that's a whole separate situation that might make Amazon consider going into the future with this production. The other thing is, obviously, it's going to get more serious. And when I say that, I mean that Dogpack 404, based on my discussions and even my own talk with him, the third part is coming. And the third part alleges that there might be concealment of actual serious misconduct. And here's the thing. If the Delaware stuff was bad enough,
no, it's not.
If it comes out proven that there was concealment of actual serious allegations and people at the top, including Jimmy, knew about it, then there really isn't any coming back. And I think at that point, YouTube as a company needs to get involved and probably think, is it worth having a creator like this on? And look, at the end of the day, this is the last part, but I feel like it's worth mentioning, even though I don't think it's personally as important as seeking justice for victims involved. At the end of the day, there are victims in the story, right? You know, it started off with people who were minors at the time.
Still talking about it.
Evolved to a situation where somebody was put on camera with a mask on to try and, I guess, that person was hired is... At the end, look, for YouTubers who want to make a mark on a world outside of YouTube, The fact that MrBeast is one of the largest brands on the platform, 300 plus million subscribers, he's not just a YouTuber, he's a mainstream figure. Now, people outside of YouTube, you know, when they look through YouTubers and the news and the big people involved, this is going to be a permanent stain on the rest of the community, right? You know, because here's the thing. If the largest YouTube channel is this mismanaged and messed up, imagine what the mainstream side and imagine what people outside of the scope will think about next time they want to work with any YouTuber agency, right? Or any YouTuber group, because this is always going to be on people's minds. People are going to look at YouTubers as consistently unprofessional individuals that are just ticking time bombs of controversy. And I think for a lot of the professional people in the sphere that try to make sure that nothing bad happens at our organizations, I'll tell you right now, working with Caleb, Oompaville, and a few of the people that I'm personally very close to on YouTube, we're nothing but the most professional idiots on the platform. And to see the rest of the world look at us as complete idiots because of these guys is just the extra little insult. But ultimately, in the end, I want some serious, actual, like, statement from MrBeast. And honestly, nothing will satiate me. But at this point, I am just interested seeing how you respond to the ever-mounting group of serious allegations.
Well, apparently he's gonna be, apparently what I've been hearing or so is that he's gonna respond once the third video comes out, so because he's not gonna do one video after another. He says he wants all the entire videos to come out specifically from this one dude, right? From Dog Pack or whatever, God Pack or whatever the fuck. Basically the guy that acts like an actual crackhead, you know? And then he's going to make one single video, and then we're gonna watch it and we're gonna see if that's actually true. Well, I don't know if the rumors are true that he's gonna do it. We don't know for a fact. Asmid Gold just says he shouldn't really talk about it specifically and just make it sweep it under the rug, you know? But like I said, no, the dude dresses like fucking iDubbbz from Content Cop, you know? For those who don't know, right? I know there's a lot of younger audiences that don't specifically know, right? There was a specific YouTuber that made a video, right?
What we do here is go
Let's
back,
look.
back.
He specifically dressed, right? And if you go back to the, where is that? Where is it at? Come on, where are you at? Somewhere in the beginning. It's definitely somewhere in the beginning.
Practices, right? Alleged practices, like illegal lotteries, for instance. And the fact that NDAs were being used to silence people from talking about situations that NDAs wouldn't even be applicable for, such as alleged crimes. Now, Dogpack 404 came out with a second video on the whole situation, where he premiered it and he showcased for a large part in us effect. I'm not sure. He felt being proper of Miss Taylor and this whole going toxic dogs. They're huge. This Mr. That's the case of the in any kid, and apparently
You go to the rehabilitation in this country, but that guy, from what I hear, I can't confirm or deny. From what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people.
So that's a very actual.
Okay.
When
I guess
she
it's
was
not
11.
here. Hold on. Let me pop it out real quick. Dog Pack 404. I can tell definitely iDubbbz was his favorite content creator. I'm gonna be honest with you. Definitely iDubbbz was his favorite content creator.
Do you think attention is the most valuable currency in the world?
Let's see, where is this dude? As you can see here, right? You see the uniform that he's wearing, right? Literally, it's literally basically almost the same thing, you know? He's in a cornfield too as well, while he was in a cornfield as well. Kind of ironic, to be honest. But like I said specifically, you know, he was definitely being a content cop. That's basically is what he was trying to do. He was basically just trying to be a content cop like iDubbbz. That's basically is his shtick right now. And that's basically is what it is. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the same, it's literally the same, it's the same fucking outfit, you know? That he's wearing of him. Like, it's kind of a bit weird in my personal opinion. Oh yeah, they definitely were. So he's basically being like iDubbbz right now, being like basically content cop, you know, in his own little way, you know, in his own version. But yeah, at the end of the day, right, you know, Mudahar's take was completely wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you, people who keep telling him, like, after looking at the video specifically of MrBeast, quote unquote, looking at the image or so, right, looking at the poster, if you can see in the left corner of the video, there's a TV there where he literally looks at the TV and then he looks straight and then he turns his head to the left, and then that was it. So I'm gonna be honest with you, and also at the same time, it's so fucking pixelated, you can automatically, like, you don't need to be rocket science or so that he was not looking at the image, you know. He like looks up this way, looking at the TV, goes straight, and then goes to the left or so to talk to his friend, and then that was it. He just looks up to the TV specifically, and then just looks straight, and then, you know, sees the camera, and then goes back to the left. That's literally it. That's literally it. That you can even see it in the video. Like, you can generally just fucking see it in the video, you know. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, sorry, but the Mudahar video was a kind of a bit of a flop, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. That Mudahar video was kind of a bit.
Hello, guys and gals.
You know,
I'm Mudahar, and today I want to again talk about MrBeast.
But
because it's one of those situations
yeah.
that just
Anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, at the end of the day,
hey, what's up, guys? We're up here.
That's it.
So today we're gonna
stop. At the end of the day, that's it. You know, I just wanted to specifically talk about it and kind of like, you know, nitpick and like debunk most of his stuff that he just said specifically on my stream or so. And yeah, you know, at the end of the day, right, I'm just waiting for MrBeast to respond on the whole situation itself. But I've been kind of like I said, right, I don't really like I said, I'm not defending anybody, and I'm not, you know, I'm not siding on any situation, but I'm looking at this situation from many different angles specifically. And so far, the only thing I have completely kind of like, you know, that I'll give him like a bone or so, right, for MrBeast is the t-shirt thing, the scene or so with the pizza thing, the what was the other thing that we took a look at? Oh yeah, the MrBeast hiring Delaware or so, specifically. His nickname is Delaware. That's not his real name, but hiring him specifically. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are because like the Delaware one was the most recent controversial one, the most, you know. I only defend femboys. But yeah, at the end of the day, right, it's that's it. That's it. Honestly, I defended literally those three, and then he was saying, and then Mudahar saying that this 11-year-old is an elementary schooler, which, number one, he is incorrect. So yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You know, we'll just have to wait for MrBeast to respond, and then we'll just have to wait for Godpack, you know, Dog, whatever the fuck his name is, basically bootleg fucking iDubbbz, you know, make a third part of the video. And yeah, that's pretty much it, and we just have to wait. And then after that, I assume MrBeast will answer all of the allegations and everything. And yeah, that's the end of the video. And